Hi, my name is Amari Womack. I did my project on the journal article Porn Sex versus Real Sex: How Sexually Explicit Material Shapes Our Understanding of Sexual Anatomy, Physiology, and Behavior, and this was from the Journal of Sexuality and Culture. I figured this would be an interesting topic to do because in class we've discussed how a lot of young people especially get their idea of what sex is or what sex should be from porn and how scary that could be. So that's why I pretty much chose this topic. So the research question was, does the frequency of sexually explicit material SEM consumption predict knowledge of sexual human anatomy, physiology, and typically practiced sexual behavior? So this research is important and relevant to the field of sexuality research because sexually explicit material perpetuates unrealistic images of the male and female body by overrepresenting women with exaggerated breast sizes and labia that are undistinguishable from one another, and males with above average penis sizes, approximately 8 to 10 inches in length, which is pretty far off from the average male penis size. And with all of this misrepresentation, this research is important to assess whether or not these images are distorting young people's idea of human anatomy and sexuality. So researchers found that contrary to the hypothesis, frequency of sexually explicit material exposure did not predict poor knowledge. In fact, frequency of sexually explicit material exposure predicted more accurate knowledge of anatomy, physiology, and sexual behavior. And although this finding was unanticipated, it is possible that sexually explicit material could be utilized as a tool for sexual knowledge to replace or supplement information acquired elsewhere, such as in sexual education classes and things like that. So some of the major limitations to the research were that the fact that the sample was comprised of predominantly heterosexual females. This is obviously a problem because not everyone in the general population is heterosexual or female. There's males, there's gay males, there's transsexual people. So the results of this study would not be applicable to the general population, unfortunately. Another major limitation to the study was the fact that the participants were self-selected. So, multiple studies indicate that self-selected human sexuality participants are significantly different from non-participants on several variables, including more positive attitudes towards both sex and sexually explicit material, more liberal political views, more sexual experience, and greater permissiveness. So basically, this sample's attitudes towards sex would probably not reflect that of the general population. So it would have been a little bit more valuable if it wasn't a self-selected process. The most interesting thing that I've learned in this article was that 75% of students admit that their sexual education at school is less than fair and declare that issues pertinent to their sexuality are not even covered in class. Surveys indicate that 60% of respondents require sexual knowledge through watching sexually explicit material, despite 75% of them acknowledging that sexually explicit material conveys unrealistic expectations of sexual intercourse. To me, this just shows that society needs to do a much better job at, educating young people on sexuality um, and provide more diverse curriculum so everyone can feel included because sexuality is not linear. It's kind of more like a spectrum, so everybody's needs need to be included in the education. And here are my references.